Hello, it is March 31st, 2022. This is As the World Burns. I'm your host, Randall Burns. Today's topic are some comments that Madison Cawthorn made about substance abuse in the U.S. Congress. And I've written on this topic before, and I'm going to go over some of the background information, surveys and polls and prediction markets related to this incident. Basically, in a nutshell, Madison Cawthorn is the youngest serving U.S. congressman. He said that he witnessed other members of Congress and the leadership using cocaine, and that on a separate occasion that he was invited to what he described as an orgy. I'm including links so you can listen to his comments for yourself. Now, literally books on this subject have been written. One of them is Party Like a President, which appears to be pretty exhaustively researched. It isn't like any of this is anything new. It's pretty clear that all the presidents from my early childhood, JFK, LBJ, and Nixon, all had serious substance abuse problems. And this was not something that at the time was at all common knowledge. People tend to have a romantic image of their leaders and deny that they are human. And there's not a lot of understanding that the lifestyle of a professional politician is not conducive to typical healthy family life. I've heard commentators say things like, well, maybe he had the wrong party in mind. Well, no, that is totally ridiculous. I mean, we have well-established cases. A problem has to be really over the top before you can get a conviction on that. And an example of somebody that did is Trey Riddell, a congressman from Florida, who got convicted because of his rather extreme, rather over-the-top cocaine dependency. So yes, it happens, and yes, he was a Republican. There have been serious allegations around Donald J. Trump in this area. Here is some photographic evidence. One of the symptoms of cocaine abuse is dilated pupils. And this is there's a link in the description to an article by a physician where he documents this and suggests that Trump is either abusing Adderall or cocaine. I'm not going to offer an opinion on this one. The thing that's interesting about this methodology is that it can be done using photographic evidence, as is detailed here. I urge you to read that just to get some familiarity with this issue. This is supported by a lot of anecdotal evidence from former Trump co-workers on The Apprentice and whatnot. I mean, their comment is that, yeah, we all knew he was a drug addict. And Anthony Scaramucci has also said that he saw behavior that was very much compatible with that. So this is not, this is very clearly anecdotal evidence, but until we have drug testing in place, we're not really going to know anything about this for sure. I wrote an article on this general topic of elite substance abuse in VDARE in October of 2013. And there's a lot of good links in this article, and I did go through and do some research for this article, and it will kind of speak for itself. One of the more important links, which is broken in the main article, is a survey from a legal magazine on substance abuse and attorney discipline. They came to the conclusion that most cases of legal malpractice are related to substance abuse, primarily cocaine or alcohol. And I included this link in the description. I think it's a very well done article and a good one. It uses a real survey to study the issue. Now, one of the conclusions I came to in the article is there should be mandatory drug testing for members of Congress. This is not a controversial issue. Clear majorities of both parties and independents agree on this point. It's congressional leadership and the donor class that are obfuscating this issue. And I think they, at a certain level, like the confusion around this issue where wild claims can be made and there's nothing in the way of evidence to support or refute the claims that are being made. And they like that ambiguous situation that's emerged. I'm personally not in favor of a strict cutoff. I think the voters can decide based on the public evidence what is the right thing to do, and I'm willing to leave it up to them. The place where what I've said in the article may be a bit controversial is that I was looking at, there's a new testing technology for testing average alcohol consumption, which I think is a greater problem within Congress. And there are tests that can tell you how many drinks somebody has had on average per day over the last month or 3 months. And I've put a link to one of those commercial tests. This is a well-established technology. And the cutoff they use is 6 drinks per day. You can set it to whatever level you want. But 6 drinks a day seems to me like a lot of alcohol over a prolonged period. I think that this kind of technology would remove a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and instill a bit of confidence in leadership and institutions. And that's one of the main reasons why I want it. Now, part of the theater that's emerging is that Madison Cawthorn has started to recant some of his comments, but he's done so under pressure from GOP leadership. So we don't really know when he was telling the truth, and there has been no independent evidence provided on either side. I'm kind of inclined to believe his off-the-cuff remarks in the first place are closer to the truth. But we really won't know the truth until we have independent testing of Congress. And that's not on the table at this point. It's just a lot of drama. Show me the test results. No, I don't believe anybody in Congress. It's as simple as that. What is clear is that Madison Cawthorn's likelihood of keeping his congressional seat through the midterms have decreased by over 25%. I have a link to the predictit.org prediction market, the real money prediction market, where that's being demonstrated. Now, this is one of the better means of forecasting an election at this point. The main beneficiary right now appears to be a more conventional Republican candidate in his early 60s named Chuck Edwards. And his odds have risen just as Madison Cawthorn's have decreased. But he is not a front runner or even by any means. Madison Cawthorn still looks likely to retain his seat. Now, the biography of Madison Cawthorn reveals some things, that he has a history of problematic behavior in his personal life, particularly with regards to his relationships with women. And I can easily imagine a member of the GOP leadership deciding that they'd rather use some funds in the slush fund to invite him to parties where hookers are provided from reliable providers, rather than have him going out in the DC social circuit and risking generating bad press. This is a time-honored part of U.S. political life. Both parties have done it. It's been done for a long time. It was legal up through World War I, and now it's become something that's done on the underground basis. But it's never something that totally went away. I mean, this is the sort of thing that happens anytime you have men away from home and in a situation where more conventional family relationships are hard to maintain. And this happens among truckers, happens among sailors, happens among congressmen, happens among people in the military. It's nothing new. It's happened for centuries. Now, I'm kind of inclined to think that Cawthorn's original remarks are maybe closer to the truth. I think that he's a confused young man in certain respects. He wants to have a stable family life, and he's just coming to grips with the fact that he's in a social milieu that's not really supportive of that, and where that's not necessarily in the cards. And I think he's still coming to grips with that. Many politicians do not have particularly happy family lives. They are trying to balance their family lives with their political demands. A lot of their relationships are really for show and for political reasons. And the thing is that we don't really know a lot about these people beyond what we see on TV. And I think that's very unfortunate. I think that we really need to have situations where members of Congress have to have more face-to-face contact with ordinary citizens. And I think that we as a people need to be more realistic that our leaders really are humans with all the usual human needs and weaknesses. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Suggestions for future episodes are welcome. Comments will be responded to. Hit the like button. Please subscribe. Love to hear from you folks. This is Randall Burns signing off. See you again soon.